Someone, please, you've got to help me. My wife, they want to kill her. She didn't do anything wrong. She was just trying to save lives, but no one will listen. You have to help, please. Lucian's love, thank you, but please, you have to hurry. Go!
In loot.
You approach, but the Paladin's icy blue eyes never move from his prisoner.
You are interrupting a Paladin court, stranger.
You couldn't call this a court until the end of days, Kem. It's still a disgrace.
The prisoner will be silent. We are beyond accusations. This once Paladin is guilty of refusing orders and protecting supporters of the Black Ring.
They were boys. Local boys that signed up for steady pay in a slick uniform. A couple of white traitors doesn't mean every Magister is in league with the Ring.
At best, you are a coward. At worst, you are a traitor. In either case, the sentence is death.
His icy eyes focus on you for the first time, pinning you with a freezing look.
Step aside, stranger. She has been tried by her service and found guilty by her failings. She disobeyed orders and cost Paladins their lives. Perhaps there is some truth in that. Very well. She will not die today.
The Paladin looks at you as Kem turns away and silently mouths, "Thank you."
Find a cell for her. And the rest of you have your duties. Move.
Nothing. Just more Magister rubbish. Oh, by the Divine, thank you. I'll never forget this kindness.
Keep looking. Take this place apart, brick by brick, if you must. Well, if it isn't my better side. I hope we made the right decision. In the long run, mercy can be very costly. It may have escaped your notice, but we've just taken over an entire Magister barracks, and the whole place has to be searched. Well, what is it? The Whites have betrayed the memory of Lucian in the most heinous manner. We'd had our suspicions, but when Lord Ahu proved their collusion with the Black Ring, it was time to act. We put a stop to their treason. The Order must persist. The Order must endure. The Magisters can no longer have power. Stay out of Paladin business. We have found little of use, at least not yet. Perhaps you may have better luck. If the Whites were working with the Black Ring, and I believe they were not doing it here. The barracks are clean as far as we can tell. But White Magister Raymond was here with his people, and of them there is no sign. But they must have left a trail. We will find them, wherever they are. She disobeyed orders. She knew the consequences. I expect she shall receive justice. Goodbye. Find the blueprints of the building. There may be hidden chambers.
much bloody order in this place.
Barracks was meant to be surrounded. How did they slip by?
This fire was set on purpose.
If I was one of those whites, where'd I hide something?
Nothing. Just more magister rubbish.
The plaque has been scorched and warped by the heat of the flames. It is illegible. It's impossible to discern what the plaque says. The fire damage is too great. The plaque reads, "Purity."
Careful, I've spotted a trap. Look out! I see a trap nearby. I've spotted something.
A combination lock is embedded into the face of the hatch with 4 numbered dials. A sequence of numbers has been engraved on the face of the mechanism. 1324. Below this are 4 dials. Each of the 4 dials bears 4 phrases that can be rotated into place. The first dial must be set. Engraved on the plaque are the words The plaque has been scorched and warped by the heat of the flames. It is illegible. It's impossible to discern what the plaque says. The fire damage is too great.
If there was anything important, the whites must have surely taken it.
Engraved on the plaque are the words, "Discipline of body." The plaque reads, "Purity of mind." Sequence of numbers has been engraved on the face of the mechanism. 1324. Below this are 4 dials. Each of the 4 dials, the first dial must be set. The mechanism clicks. The second dial has the same 4 phrases to select from. The mechanism clicks once again. The third dial bears the same options as before. Another click. One last dial remains, with the same phrases as all the others. The final dial clicks. Then, deeper within the mechanism, the sound of gears turning and a bolt withdrawing. The hatch yields, clicking open.
Nothing. Just more Magister rubbish. Often the strongest locks hide the dark.
Look out! I see a trap nearby. Careful! I've spotted a trap. Look out! I see a trap nearby. I've spotted something. Careful now, that's a trap.
More Magister trickery. They must have many secrets to go to all these lengths.
Look out! I see a trap nearby. Careful now, that's a trap. I've spotted something.
That didn't sound successful.
Careful now, that's a trap.
Look out! I see a trap nearby.
Careful now, that's a trap. Careful now, that's a trap.
There's some mechanism at work behind these walls. There's some mechanism at work behind these walls. There's some mechanism at work behind these walls. That did the trick by the sound of
I've
it.
spotted something. Careful. I've spotted a trap. Careful now, that's a trap.
You see yourself in the mirror. It's quite a sight.
Much effort to maintain secrecy. What are the Magisters hiding?
God woken. I should have known it would be you in the end. The seeds of interference that you planted in the Black Pits have yielded rather bloody fruit here in Arx, spreading lies about us, allying with the Black Ring. You are so very wrong. I should have ran you through with my sword back in Driftwood, not offered you my hand. You're nothing but a catastrophe in waiting. You are part of the problem, Godwoken, not the solution. We lead the world to salvation. Sacrifices are inevitable, sad as it may be. Dallis is so very close to her goal. She will tiptoe down the crypt of the divine, point the Aeteran at his holy body laid to rest, and purge the powers of the gods still raging within. This is how Lucian, even in death, will become the savior of us all. With him, all source will wither. With him, divinity itself will die. No source, no Voidwoken. Remember, sorcerer? That is what we promised from the start. A cure that will save the world. We will redeem Rivellon. No longer will you and your divine ambitions stand in our way. The time has come for us all to burn Godwoken, a sacrifice worthy of Lucian. He died for Rivellon, as will we.
Raymond produces something, an incendiary grenade. Your eyes dart left and right. Oil barrels are stacked in every corner and alcove of the chamber.
Let's go out with a bang.
Raymond primes the grenade. It starts to hiss.
Prepare yourself! found something.
was one of those whites. Where'd I hide something?
What is it now? Ah! Tell me about this plot. My, they are ambitious. Not to worry, though. Only Lord Ahu knows how to enter the crypt, and I have it on good authority he'd rather die than share his secrets. That said, the timing of his disappearance is rather worrying. Needless to say, my best people are searching for him without pause. I'm sure he'll turn up soon. Please, take this as a token of our gratitude, and then enjoy Lucian's Day. Welcome to Arx.
Where'd I hide something?
Sweet, sweet darling.
They got damaged.
They kicked me out? Don't they know who I am?
I'll give you that.
What a pile of junk.
They got damaged in the fight. It'll fix up just fine.
You're confident. I'll give you that.
Nature provides. Kim, they burn our flags and set our homes alight. Take comfort in knowing that you can find strength in the most delicate of elixirs. Do avail yourself of them.
I welcome newcomers and natives alike.
Oh, yes. The town is all a twitter over your escapades at the gate. It's the perfect time to replace the hunting supplies you've lost, yes?
Get yourself geared up. You, eyes over here, yeah? I know she's pretty, but me wife's here to work, not to gawk at. Now, what'll it be? You got
What's going on? I smell terrible things, I do. I smell fear and blood and doom and death and something else. Something worse. It's coming from under the city.
Get out of here, you dirty mutt.
you got some fight in ya, then I've got what you need.
Hear ye, hear ye. Nature provides.
Daddy's going to fix you right up. A visitor. Tell me, do you like puppets?
The toy seller nods and smiles, clearly not listening to a word you've said.
Wonderful. Here, take a look at this.
The puppet springs to life.
Impressive, no? There's a lot of craftsmanship in that small package. Quite a lot. Now, what can I do for you? I haven't had many callers of late, what with all the fuss and hubbub that's been going on outside. Sauce, what else? Each and every one of my darlings has a little bit of magic in them. It turns a mere toy into a friend. Oh, no, not at all. I use only the smallest sprinkle of sauce in my work. I'd hardly think a Voidwoken would set its sights on me and my darlings. I'm on good terms with the Divine Order. They know what my work entails. They've even had use for me in the past. I have nothing to fear from them. Myself and others, some of the finest feats of engineering ever conceived guard the remains of the divine. The Path of Blood was our masterpiece. Now I'm the last one alive, the last engineer of the cathedral and its secrets. I've retired and found a new calling, these wondrous darlings. One of my late colleagues designed them for the cathedral, little wind-up sentries to guard against intruders. Now I busy myself turning the surplus into toys. It truly feels good to spread a little joy in my twilight years. Absolutely not. The Path of Blood is my legacy, and the legacy of my late departed fellows. I can't just give away its secrets. Well, all right then. In order to pass the first chamber, you'll need an amulet that's charged with source. Here, take this amulet and fill it with source. When you've done that, return to me, and I'll tell you what must be done next.
The puppet looks at you with what almost amounts to curiosity. You sense power from within it, a measure of source, just enough to make the plaything seem alive.
You a hunter? I've got just the thing.
Welcome, my esteemed and esteemable friend. Come in, my esteemed and esteemable friend. Come in! Ah, yes, my friend. Yes, indeed. But you misunderstand. These guards are here for your protection. By which I mean, if you try to crash the wedding my employer is hosting, they will protect you from succeeding. Yes, the wedding. Alas, alas, I am not invited, and that is perfectly acceptable, for you see, the market must stay open. The money wheel keeps turning, and my employer has a wedding to pay for.
Hold it right there. Private wedding party. No entry. You'd better have an invitation. And you best be bringing gifts.
She peers closely at you.
All right then. Apologies for the delay, madam. Step inside.
First day at work and a void woken attack. Typical.
Milady, I beg your pardon, but the feast has been cut short due to, acts of gods.
The woman cries on.
Can't say I know that face. You must be one of my husband's noble friends.
She tries to curtsy from her seat, but it's clumsy and awkward. As she looks up, you notice a pale pink shade in her eyes, along with a deep scarlet blush spreading across her cheek.
Blast! I was sure I'd got the hang of that. Who could be happy on a day like this? My beloved and I are finally together. But before we can even cut the cake, there's void woken everywhere. We barely made it in here alive. Thank Duna my husband is okay, though. It was beautiful. We said our vows, tied the ceremonial knot. The priestess was just finishing her sermon when these things appeared. It looked like they were wriggling out of the ground below us. And then they started killing. The priestess, my family, my friends. If not for the guards, they'd have got me too. We're not up to anything. We're merchants, not mystics. If you want source, talk to Kem and his bloody paladins. They're the ones to blame. They're bad as the Black Ring, bringing this down on us. Why? Well, it's not like I have much else to do for the time being but chat. Thank you kindly. I may not have been lucky in the ceremony, but I'm blessed with my husband.
She turns and waves timidly to the man on the balcony behind her, her husband, who offers an apathetic grunt in return.
Ah, see there? I've nabbed me a fine man and no mistake. Oh, aye. It's just the rosy tint of a woman in love. My darling says 'tis to be expected. He says it'll pass after the wedding, though I hope it never does. Oh, that's just his way. Sometimes he won't talk to me for days. I know he loves me, though. He's always making me drinks to keep me healthy, even if he ain't in the mood to natter.
The dwarf stares grimly into space. On his fingers he wears rings, some of which have ornate, rose-tinted jewels on them. You notice one has a gem missing.
What? I swear I'm in no mood to meet more of my wife's business associates. I've shaken hands with enough fishmongers today. Yes, it's a fine match. With her assets and my name, that is to say, we will be a powerful pair.
He glances over at his smiling bride as she takes another sip from her goblet.
Yes, indeed. Quite powerful. Love? Duna's beard. Is that what passes for sense among the lower classes? She is quite enamored with me, of course. I can be, well, irresistible. But no. In my family, marriage is a more practical matter. Our union means I can continue my work. A job? Oh, please don't be churlish. I'm no dairymaid desperate for her next meal. I follow my passion, alchemy. Potions which, at a sip, can heal or kill. Can grant strength, speed, or compliance. Which have the power to transform base metal into gold.
He glances across the room, where his betrothed is cheerfully pouring herself another goblet of wine.
Although for now I'll have to settle for using base people rather than metal. You make it sound like she's a victim, rather than someone who just married into one of the oldest houses in the kingdom. We trace our lineage back to the time of Tenax himself. She could not ask to bear children from a more noble lineage. If anything, I'm doing her a service. I bet you heard. I bet everyone is talking about this cursed wedding. Perhaps my warhorse of an aunt is right. Perhaps this is what I get for debasing myself. Still, what's done is done. The marriage is final. That's the important thing.
The groom turns back to the window with a grunt, anxiously twisting the rings on his fingers.
You've come to serve, yes? Excellent. Bring me my slippers. Chop chop. Do hurry. My hooves are shivering from the chill.
Why, yes, thank you. Indeed, it would have been a beautiful ceremony for my Isla. Terrible tragedy, I know, and Uncle Paul so recently retired. Very good of you to come. Safe travels home now. Bye-bye. You've been proven a friend to Duna's spawn. So from one friend to another, I say, get out of Arx. Leave it far behind and never look back. I can't say why, but trust me, just do it. All right, look, just get out of Arx. Leave it far behind and never turn back. I can't say why, but trust me, do it. Say what you like, do what you like. My lips are sealed. If Her Majesty found out Oh, shite.
Mikhail bites his lip in an effort to keep it from flapping further.
We're both busy people. Why don't you get busy somewhere else while I stay busy here?
Justinia's dead father. The shorter they come, the quicker they fall.
Hunters, I've got the wares you need.
They kicked me out.
A well-dressed dwarf woman lies on the cobbles, giggling drunkenly to herself.
I wish I was bloody homeless. Then I'd be home already. No, I was at a wedding. Beggars kicked me out. Said I was causing a scene. The usual fuss. The groom's a local alchemist, marrying the daughter of some big-shot merchant. They'd hardly kick out their own flesh and blood, would they? I barely know any of them. Friends of business acquaintances. Invitation only, I'm afraid. Ha! Voidwoken. Good one. You're a regular jester.
I do worry about her. I hope she's safe. I hope they're treating her well.
Do you know, this Arx place doesn't look half bad. It's only about 1/3 bad, really. Maybe 2/5, depending on the weather.
The dwarf produces a purloined bottle of wine from beneath her voluminous...
Eh? No. Why would I do that? Fine. Take the bloody thing. Now, off with you. I can feel a void walking of a headache coming along.
Move along. Nothing to see here. That's under control. Now get out of here. On your way. Have you heard a word that I said? No entry. Now clear off or I'll escort you head first into...
All I did.
Clear off. Need to keep the way clear. Ain't no getaway happening here. And if there is, I ain't involved. Get it? Good. Now clear off. You're in the way. Ain't no one going nowhere, far as you're concerned. Now clear off. You're in the way.
So much death on such a lovely day.
I smell death fog.
You recognize the trumpet. This is the dwarven bard Redolent, as famous for the strength and power of his breath as he was for its terrible odor. The stone smells of granite and rosewater, but beneath the aroma, a familiar smell lingers. Death fog. And then you see it. The horn of the trumpet connects to a pipe. The pipe disappears into the dirt. The scent of death fog comes from under the ground.
alive and they look hostile. Time to play.
You? What in Divinity? Did you make this God's blessed mess? It came from the doctor, with a letter of congratulation. It was truly a magnificent sight. But the wedding was cut short before we could ever slice it. Explosive wind-ups, you say? Void-woken. Sabotage. You'd think someone had it in for our little lady. Few have seen his face, and none know his name. He corresponds only by scroll and messenger. We seldom speak of him, except in whisper and midnight scare stories. He'll open your belly and fill it with jelly. The doctor is in. The doctor is in. He'll rip off your toes and shove them up your nose. The doctor is in. The doctor is in. You chant that one after the bell tolls midnight, and someone's bound to scream. It's easiest if I show you. Let me see your map.
He shakes his head and whistles as he identifies the doctor's home on your map.
Look, I don't believe much in spooks and spectres. But if there was ever a house that was haunted, well, that's the one. They say almost no one gets in, and those that do, never come out. You're leaving already? A shame. This place is a disaster, and I could use a few extra hands.
What's this? I found something.
Ah, yes, the servant returned.
Curled upper lip, lightly bobbing head, unwavering gaze. There's no doubting the spirit's distaste of current circumstances. The spirit's sneer intensifies.
A job for the Queen. Now get your scabby lizard mug away from mine.
The spirit remains calm, as if he knew what was coming, and perhaps he did. The spirit of an elven dignitary remains seated in a pew where the wedding unfolded. He stifles a disinterested yawn.
Come on, through it!
The spirit of a dwarf guard patrols. The spirit of a dwarven attendee attempts the spirit's wine goblet. The spirit of a dwarven lady stands eagerly by, as if she's waiting to catch a bouquet. The spirit shoos you away absently, her gaze fixed intently on the arc that the bouquet is taking through the air. The spirit catches the ghostly bouquet and lets out a whoop of joy that rapidly turns into a shriek of terror as she is consumed. The spirit of an elegantly dressed woman. The spirit of a dwarven lady remains rapt by the since-interrupted wedding ceremony. The spirit of a dwarf watches the ceremony with a scowl. He tugs at his ornate collar in an effort to loosen it. The spirit cocks her eyebrow. The spirit of a guard gazes around the garden sternly. Clearly, he's unaware of his demise.
Darling. Sweet, sweet darling.
curious. This amulet is storing the source.
Well, hello, gorgeous. Care to hear about the power of cheese? I've got wheels and rounds and blocks and rolls and possibly more. But my wares are nuanced, with undertones of something rare.
She looks you up and down, then...
What's on my mind? Why, texture, maturity, taste. But most of all, I'm wondering what tickles your fancy. Looking at you, I think it may be power. Am I right? So I have not misjudged you. Now, we've established how you feel about power. How do you feel about law? Specifically laws relating to property and the acquisition of goods,
A glint appears in her eye, and she smiles. Then she raises her hands and shows you her rings.
Perhaps this is the power you seek. I've been waiting for the right customer to come along for these, but I warn you, power doesn't come cheap, even for someone as attractive as you. I have my little helpers, here, there, and everywhere, who bring me things that they have found. After all, no one has as many friends as an elf with many cheeses. The pleasure was mine.
Think they'll open the shops anytime soon?
I've seen a few traces about the place.
Business doesn't stop for long round here.
The proprietress gives you a sweet smile.
You look like someone who's ready for business. You look like someone with an eye for the main chance. You look like someone who needs an investor. I knew it the moment you walked in here. Here comes an enterprising fellow, I said to myself. Here comes a man who could take a sum of gold and turn his mind to turning a profit. I can see it in your eyes. Whatever you're up to in the fine upstanding city of Arx, jewel of Lucian's blessed domain, I'd like to back you, financially speaking. But be warned, I demand security. You must make a
deposit. And I always recover a debt. You understand? Will there be anything else? I bid you.
She smiles her sweet smile, dips her head in farewell, and turns away.
Cheap goods or cheap loans?
Follow not the Catman. His words are hot and black. He shimmers around the blood path.
Can you believe this school was teeming with students just a year ago? Everything changed so fast. And it's the kids that suffer.